Today I'm going to go over how to adjust Avid BB7 road disc brakes. You're going to need two tools, so you're going to need a 5mm Allen and a Torx driver, and this is a T25. Okay, so this is the front brake. This is really easy. It's just like the rear brake. It has the same 4 basic adjustments. It has the outboard pad, inboard pad, and then these 2 mounting bolts. And again, you're going to only need 2 tools. You're going to need this one here, 5mm. I like to use a ball socket, right? So 5mm Allen, and then a T25 Torx wrench. The T25 is actually somewhat optional, being that you can turn the outboard pad is very easy to turn by hand. The inboard pad, you can also turn it by hand, but it takes a little bit more. It's a little bit more difficult. You can manage to get your hand in there and kind of give it a, see, it's not super easy, but you can do it. The Torx driver, of course, makes it super easy. So there we go, right? Okay, so again, dial the pad all the way out. So both pads, inboard and outboard. Again, both pads are all the way dialed outward, and then I'm just going to go ahead and mark the edge of this dial. I'm going to use this Sharpie here. So now you can tell, right? It's just an indicator. And what I'm going to do is next, go ahead and use a 5mm Allen to go ahead and loosen up the caliper. Okay, so now you can see that the caliper is loose on the fork. Right? This needs to be aligned properly to the rotor. And the way we do this, again, is use your T25 Torx driver. I want to give this one full turn. The inboard pad, give it a clockwise turn, one full turn. So, and there's that black marker, so that's one full turn. Next, I'm going to go ahead and turn the outboard adjustment all the way inboard. And again, what I do is I push against this caliper. That's kind of important, to go ahead and push the caliper against the fork. And what this does is it makes sure that the caliper is actually seated against the fork. And then just give the outboard pad, just turn this dial all the way in until the pad is fully engaged against the rotor. So what you can see now is that the caliper is completely seated against the rotor. This wheel does not move. Right? What you can notice is that there's a slight bit of, so you can notice that there's a little bit of play here. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and tighten this down. And as you tighten this down, you can notice how lined up these conical washers are. You want to try to keep things as aligned, keep things lined up as much as possible. So here on the bottom, you can see how these pads kind of want to move around, or the washers kind of want to move around. I just go ahead and hold them in a position where they're fairly square to each other, and all that does is keep things straight, lets it torque down nice and even. Okay, so here we go. We have both of the mounting bolts torqued down. Okay, next what I'm going. So both the pads are completely engaged against the rotor. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the outboard dial adjuster. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise, which will open up the pad so the pad will move outboard, right? And you just give it a few turns. So this is called the torque arm, and you can see. Okay, so that sound, that's obviously the pad rubbing against the rotor. You can keep adjusting this until you don't have any noise. Okay, see, so a majority of that was coming from the outboard pad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my driver here, and I'm going to give the inboard pad. It has a couple. When you turn the knob, it has these indents, so these clicks. So maybe I'll give it 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. And let's see what that's like. Oh, there you go. Voila. And that caliper is now aligned.